Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be telling you guys my labour and delivery story. So I was induced on the 18th of May and I was induced for medical reasons. I had no idea what was going to happen when I got to this induction. I had no idea if I was obviously already dilated or anything like that. I was really nervous because I had no idea what to expect. I didn't ask people about their experiences being induced because if they had a bad experience it would put me off and scare me a lot, because two of my biggest fears is dying during labour and being put to sleep. So I didn't really want to ask anybody to panic myself or worry myself any more than I was. I didn't think about giving birth or anything like that throughout my pregnancy, and people might think that's really weird, but I don't know, I just didn't think about it. I thought about what it was going to be like to have a little boy and things like that, but I never actually thought about the whole process of labour and delivering him, etc. Because the way I thought of it is I can ask people as much as I want how their experience was, but mine's going to be different, and we all have different labours, we all have different deliveries, and no labour is the same as somebody else's. So I thought it was just best to go with the flow, and whatever happens, happens. That's how I saw it. So I got induced on a Friday because the 18th of May landed on a Friday. And I got the pessary inserted at about 9 o'clock that night. I did not cope well with the examination or with the pessary being put in, so throughout that happening I had to have gas and air, and honestly I don't even genuinely think there's anything in the gas and air at all, because I did not find it useful at all. Honestly, I didn't find it useful. I was still in a lot of pain and it didn't even take the edge off or anything like that. But I needed to use it because I was not coping well at all. I wasn't dilated, so when this pessary was being put in, my cervix was still really thick and strong. It wasn't softening or anything like that. So this pessary got left in for 30 hours. Originally it was only going to be left in for 24 hours, but because I didn't cope well with the examination, they didn't want to put me through another examination. So I got the pessary taken out at 3 AM on the Sunday morning, and again I still wasn't dilated or anything, no cervix softening or anything like that, so I got put on 24 hours rest. So I got sent up to a ward and I let my body rest for 24 hours. Within that time I was doing a lot of walking around the hospital because I just wanted to walk around really. I wanted to try and see if I could bring this labour on myself, if I could make the baby come a little bit quicker or something like that. And then early hours on Monday I got sent back down to the labour ward and I had another pessary inserted. And before this pessary was inserted I was absolutely terrified because I didn't cope well with the examination of the first pessary being inserted. So I was panicking a lot, thinking, oh my god, what's going to happen? It's going to really hurt. I was just panicking really bad. And to be quite honest, it actually wasn't that bad, and I'm gonna be completely honest, it wasn't as bad as the first time at all. I coped a lot better with it than I did with the first examination, and I also again did use gas and air for this as well, and it was a lot better. And I just thought to myself throughout the whole thing, I thought, look, I'm gonna have to go through worse. I'm gonna have to go through delivering a baby, which is gonna be 100 times more pain than what I'm going through right now, so I'm gonna have to get on with it. And the woman that did my examination and put the pessary in, I was asking her a lot of questions. I kept asking her, you know, what was going to happen if I didn't dilate, what was going to happen if nothing changed, and she said that different consultants would say different things. So one might say failed induction, go home. Another one might say failed induction, C-section, etc. But that wasn't the case. I got the pessary taken out early hours on Tuesday, so I think about between 7:30 and 8 o'clock. I got the pessary taken out and I was 2 centimetres dilated, so I got my waters broken, and for this I thought, you know, it doesn't hurt having your waters broke, but believe me, it does. Well, at least it did for me. I know a lot of people it didn't hurt, but for me it absolutely killed, and anyone would have thought I was in labour because I was screaming that loud, and I think in a way I was going over the top, but honestly it was really, really painful for me. Absolutely really, really painful. And the whole process of like the waters being broken didn't hurt, but like the whole process of like things going in and stuff like that really, really hurt. So I had no idea what to expect, which I think maybe that's why it hurt so much. And I don't cope well with pain at all anyway. I'm really, really bad for coping with pain. So then obviously I was put on the hormone drip a couple of hours after. I think about between 11 and 12 o'clock that day I was put on the hormone drip, and this is to make your contractions come on a little bit stronger and make them more frequent, etc. And whilst this was on, you have to have the monitors on your belly at all times. I don't know if that's the same for everybody. I don't know if people have had to have different, etc. But for me, I had to have the monitors on me at all times when the hormone drip was in. And throughout this labour and process, later I started to get contractions in my back. I was already starting to get contractions the day before in my back, and I had to take paracetamol, and I thought, oh my goodness, I'm going to give birth in the middle of the night, because it hurt and I felt all my contractions in my back. I never once felt any in my tummy. I felt like the odd one in my bladder, etc. But apart from that, I didn't feel any in my tummy. Pain relief wise, I went for an epidural and actually ended up having the epidural pretty early on. So I was on the hormone drip when I had it, and I think it was about between 12 and 1 o'clock when I had the epidural. I was really nervous because I heard so many horror stories about it. I heard that you can get paralysed, bad things can happen, it can have after effects, etc. So I was really scared because I'm somebody that moves when I have a blood test and things like that, and I knew that this needle was a lot bigger. So I was panicking and I was like, you know, I don't want to be paralysed or anything like that. But I actually was able to speak to somebody that did the epidurals before I had one, so I was really comfortable after that, and they reassured me that I'd be fine, and if I was having a contraction or anything like that, then I was to tell them to make them aware. And throughout the process of having it in, I did have a contraction, but thankfully it wasn't bad, so obviously I didn't like move or anything. But honestly, I don't think having the epidural hurt that much at all. It was just like a sharp scratch, and to be honest, I preferred that over a blood test, so that's saying something. And that worked really well for me. I felt nothing throughout my labour, absolutely nothing. I felt like when like the baby's head was coming out, I felt like things getting like quite tight down there. Not like a painful, but like I just knew that there was something there, and I knew that like his head was like coming out. And also when they was stitching me up at the end, I also felt that as well. But not like a pain, but like it just felt really uncomfortable. So I feel like I've just missed like a whole lot out there. But I went to start pushing at about 8:15. Because throughout the day the baby's heartbeat was dropping, and they kept saying that his heartbeat was dropping, and I thought this is going to result in a C-section. Oh my goodness, I'm scared, because I always thought that my labour was going to result in a C-section for some reason. I just always thought that. So that was the case. And then I didn't actually end up going for a C-section, which is absolutely wonderful. So yeah, I didn't end up going for a C-section. I ended up actually being able to deliver him, which I was absolutely thrilled about because I was really nervous about having to have a C-section, but thankfully that wasn't the case and I managed to deliver him naturally, although he did need suction to help him come out, because at first I didn't know I was pushing. I knew I was pushing because they told me to push, but I didn't know I was pushing the baby out because they said, oh, we're just going to move his position, so we need you to push. So I started pushing and then like I had to keep pushing. So I was like, wait, am I delivering my baby now? And they was like, yes. And I was like, what, now? And they was like, yes. So they didn't really speak me through that part, and I think it all just came as a massive shock because I just didn't expect any of it, and I was really, really nervous. So that was quite worrying because obviously, like I said in the beginning of the video, I didn't even think about delivering my baby. I didn't even think about any of the labour or anything. So when it was actually happening, I was terrified. I thought, oh my goodness. But honestly, I had a really good experience, and to be honest, I'd do it all over again because I thought I had a really good experience, and I think I'm quite lucky to have had a good experience because I know a lot of people aren't that lucky. I did have I can't say the word, but it begins with an E. Episiotomy, that's what it's called. That's what it's called. Episiotomy. So I ended up having one of those, which just means you're cut down below, which is you just cut through some muscles so they can help get the baby out. And honestly, I was in a lot of pain after delivery, but we'll speak about that a bit later in the video. So yeah, that's basically my labour and delivery story. Everything was fine. I did lose a lot of blood, but I didn't lose enough to have a blood transfusion or anything like that. Thank goodness. But I ended up staying in hospital for a lot longer than expected. So the day after delivery, I had a woman and she said, oh, we're going to discharge you today. So I was like, yes, I'm going home already. And I was really excited. And then she went, have you been to the toilet? And I was like, no, I haven't. And she was quite concerned because I couldn't go to the toilet at all. I didn't know that I needed a wee or anything like that. So I ended up having to have a catheter put in so I could wee because I couldn't go to the toilet. And after delivery, that's pretty normal. So it's not unusual for that to happen. That's pretty normal. But because I hadn't been to the toilet in such a long time, they was getting a little bit, you know, worried. So they kept me in for another day. And then the next day I thought I was going home again, got everything ready, packed my bags, put my son in his going home outfit, and that's when things started to go a bit wrong. So you have to have like observations quite frequently, which is testing your blood pressure, heart rate, etc. My heart rate had increased and it was over 100 beats a minute. And they was getting quite concerned and they wanted to get it checked by the doctor. And at this point I wasn't that concerned. But then I saw a doctor and I was very concerned because he was concerned as well. So I ended up having a huge breakdown in the hospital and I thought I was going to die because it was that dramatic. I ended up having to have an ECG to check that my heart was fine, that there was no abnormalities with my heart or anything like that, just because it was not unusual for this to happen, but they was quite concerned because it was quite high. I also ended up having an ultrasound in my leg because my legs had been swelling, so they suspected that I could have blood clots in my leg. So with all this going on, I was absolutely terrified. I couldn't stop crying. I genuinely thought I was going to die. I said to the doctors, am I going to die? I was crying. I got really scared because I thought, you know what, I've just had my baby, I genuinely thought I was gonna die, and I thought, how, you know, what's gonna happen to my son if anything happens, you know, he's just born and I'm gonna die. It was absolutely awful and I was so scared because in that moment I genuinely thought that was the end, and my heart rate didn't stop going up. So that was absolutely wonderful. That didn't put my mind at rest at all. But then the next day at night, it actually started calming down, and honestly, it was a massive, massive relief. There was a doctor that came in to do my observations, and she said, look, this will go down, this is normal. A lot of people after delivery have like heart rates going up and increasing and stuff like that. Your body's just been through a huge thing and it will go back to normal. That reassured me a lot, and I thought, you know what, I'm not going to die, everything's going to be alright. So yeah, it was very, very complicated. I feel like I went through a really good labour and delivery, but then afterwards I took ill quite badly, so I was really, really scared for that. But honestly, I do labour all over again, but I don't know if I'd have any more children because of obviously what happened after I gave birth, because that really shook me up a lot and I was terrified, because one of my biggest fears in life is dying, and I definitely didn't want to die a few days after having my son. So I was really, really terrified of that happening. So I think I've mentioned everything that I need to mention in this video. But I have forgot to tell you guys what my baby weighed. He weighed 6 lbs, 11 ounces. So, yeah. I will be doing updates on how the baby is doing and stuff like that every month until he is 12 months old. Well, 12 months old, 1 year old. So, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If there's any other pregnancy videos you want to see, please let me know, because I want to create content for you guys that you enjoy. Also, if you haven't, please subscribe to my channel and like this video. Also, if you are subscribed, please click the notification bell, because that will notify you every time I upload a video, and YouTube is changing, so not everybody will get a notification for when I upload a video. So if you click that button, you will receive a notification every time I upload. So I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.